Thank you Squarespace for sponsoring this video.
Alex Kurtzman came under fire earlier this year for an interview with Cinema Blend wherein he spoke about so-called filler episodes of Star Trek. It's funny, you can talk to old writers of old Trek series and they're like, man, there's a bunch of filler episodes in there, we're just trying to get to 22 a season. The way the audiences consume media has changed since the 80s and 90s. Shows generally tend to run shorter in these times, with 10 episodes serving as the standard template. It must be said that some shows have seen a real benefit from this structure. Storytelling must be tighter, budgets per episode can be a little bit higher, and as many franchises as move towards serialized seasons, it makes it easier to create a single narrative. Star Trek has historically leaned toward the episodic, which allowed for standalone stories, some of which almost certainly wouldn't be made today. Are they filler? Or are they an experiment, allowing writers a greater range to try new directions with their characters? Would any of the episodes on this list be made today? I'm Sean Ferrick for TrekCulture, and here are the 10 greatest filler episodes. Number 10, The Visitor. The Visitor was written to explore the relationship between Jake and Ben Sisko, but it also comes right on the heels of The Way of the Warrior. For the most part, it's a bottle episode, using almost no new sets. Frankly, it was cheap. Therefore, it serves as a good example of the difference between a bottle episode and filler. Bottle episodes in Deep Space Nine alone include this episode, Duet, The Sound of Her Voice, and Waltz. Would we consider any of those as filler? Of course not. The Visitor serves to deepen the already beautiful father-son relationship between the Sisko men, features an incredible performance from Tony Todd, and does very little to contribute to the overall arc of Season 4, The Klingons Go Nuts. While Tony Todd himself would help with that arc, here the audience is treated to a beautiful meditation on what family truly means. Would it be made today? Perhaps, though it would face stiff competition. Number 9, The Royale. The Royale has Data in a Stetson blowing on dice and Worf looking as though he just hasn't got a clue. It's a lot of fun, even if it normally ranks a little lower on rewatch lists for Star Trek The Next Generation's second season. It's light fare. The Enterprise D discovers NASA wreckage in space, leading them to a planet that contains a recreation of the eponymous hotel, based on a novel a long-dead astronaut carried with him into space. That, in a nutshell, is the episode. This was a chance for The Next Generation to play with comedy again, something they had rushed when it came to earlier episodes like The Naked Now. The audience knew the characters far better, so seeing them taken out of their serious roles wasn't anything too jarring. It's a simple episode, it's enjoyable, and it was almost never discussed again, save for one copy of the book turning up in House's collection in Kaishon, His Eyes Open. Number 8, Where Silence Has Lease. Where Silence Has Lease is a bottle episode from The Next Generation's second season, which initially is fairly forgettable. A reaction meme, that poor ensign, has spawned from it, but for a long time, that was really the most memorable part of the story. However, this too is an episode that deserves a re-evaluation. On the surface, one could easily label it as filler and then move on. But it, along with the guest star's voice, Earl Bowen, offers a chilling slice of space exploration. Nagilum kills simply to scratch a curious itch. There is something terrifying about the scientist with no regard for their subjects. There's also something terrifying about the crew we've come to love being relegated to simple subjects. The episode also, sort of, features the first appearance of a second Galaxy-class ship, the USS Yamato, or a version of it at least. It's definitely one that shouldn't be skipped. Number 7, Paradise. Paradise is an exploration on the nature of cultism, with Elixis taking the role of cult leader. For Michael Piller, it was another chance to do a Sisko episode. Combining Sisko and O'Brien worked well, and would be repeated in the seasons to follow. The story is simple. Sisko and O'Brien are looking for potential colony worlds and find a community that has rejected all technology. Rather than help them to leave, Elixis plans to break them, forcing them to accept her way of life. For me, that punishment box was the definition of hell. So much of Paradise works so well, even if it is rarely discussed alongside such other episodes as Past Tense, Trials and Tribulations, or Tears of the Prophets. It's got a smaller scale, but it works. It definitely deserves a rewatch soon. Number 6, Initiations. Aaron Eisenberg crosses the streams and makes his only appearance in Star Trek Voyager in this second season episode, Initiations. Here, as Carr, he spends much of his time on screen with Robert Beltran, and it's clear that the two men have great chemistry together. Initiations contains a fairly vital piece of information about the Kazon. Here, Carr reveals that they were once slaves to the Trabe. This plot would be developed a little later in the second season, The rest of the episode serves as an interesting look into Kazon culture, though separate from the Nistrum. The Kazon Ogla seem to be just as brutal as their Nistrum compatriots, yet they are at least willing to talk. The episode is Eisenberg's chance to shine, without the lobes, and it works well, even if it's not the most rewatchable outing. A young Kazon trying to earn his name may be a simple plot, yet it's effective. Number 5, 1159. 1159 is a personal favourite, though I must admit that in the streaming age, where every dollar counts, it would probably struggle to make it past the writing stage. Ancestors' Eve is a cute idea, celebrated by those who have the time to ruminate on the past. When you have 10 episodes to build up to, and then avert the end of the universe, there isn't room for Shannon O'Donnell. This episode, featuring Kate Mulgrew getting to stretch her acting chops once more, feels like a day off from the normal doings of the USS Voyager, which is part of its strength. Fish out of water episodes are just fun, and thankfully haven't been completely erased from Star Trek's current model. Strange New Worlds has offered the most examples in this case from contemporary Trek. There are absolutely no stakes in this episode. The audience knows that the Millennium Gate was built, so in a way Shannon can't fail. Yet still, seeing how she succeeds is the fun. There are no Borg, no Species 8472, or countdowns to an explosion. Yet, there is a simple love story. Number 4, Acquisition. Star Trek Enterprise's first season was a little hit or miss when it came to memorable episodes. Broken Bow arrived with a bang, a confusing one when the Klingon appeared, and then the show slid into a series of fine episodes. Franchise fatigue had started to settle over the final frontier, but there were still glimmers of hope out there. Acquisition introduced the Ferengi a couple of centuries earlier than expected, though the episode is a lot of fun. And yes, that is Jeffrey Combs under the makeup, and Ethan Phillips, which is fun. But the episode may also be best remembered for that scene where Trip runs around in his boxers. Good time all round, really. Very low stakes, very good fun. A nice return for the energy whip which hadn't been seen since The Next Generation's The Last Outpost 2. Number 3, Datalus. Star Trek Enterprise's 4th season saw several longer form stories take over, though nowhere near the season-long arc of the 3rd year. Nestled between stories about augments, Soongs and Kirsharas, there is Datalus. The human inventor of the transporter, Dr. Emery Erickson, arrives on Enterprise to conduct experiments to improve the technology. An old friend of Archer's, their embrace is truly heartwarming. His true presence aboard, the attempt to save his son, is then heartbreaking. With so much else going on in that final year for Enterprise, it's easy to overlook Datalus as filler to pad the numbers, but that would be an unfair assessment. It's another strong performance piece, it's got some important Starfleet history to boot, and serves a little breath of air before the action-packed second half of the season really kicks off. Number 2, Family. Family was an experiment. The Next Generation was not a show designed for serialized stories, so the original plan had been to finish the Locutus story with The Best of Both Worlds Part 2. However, that sort of trauma was too deep to erase by the episode's end, so Family was added as a bit of a breather. It's actually a rather important episode overall for character growth, even though it contributes nothing really to ongoing action. The Picards wrestling in the mud, the Roshenkos visiting their son, and Wesley Crusher getting to meet a holographic version of his dad. This episode tackled it all. Except for Jean-Luc's breakdown, this was light on ongoing plot arcs, but still is a crucial piece of the puzzle for all concerned. It also serves as a deep breath after that season opener, which is the format Star Trek Enterprise would revisit for its 4th season episode, Home. Number 1, Bada Bing, Bada Bang. This episode is honestly just a brilliant piece of fun, offering the last true laughs before the final Dominion War arc of DS9 begins. Vic Fontaine, played by the dearly departed James Darren, needs his friend's help to save his home and his job. The entire senior staff, sans Worf, steps up to the plate and the episode just oozes with cool. Another episode with zero stakes, Bada Bing Bada Bang is an old-fashioned heist story. When the wolves are at the Cardassian border, what's a better time than now to rip off a casino and have Frankie Eyes learn a lesson or two? It does nothing for the war arc, Michael Dorn is absent for much of the episode, and poor Bobby Riley has a drink that really disagrees with him. This is a hoot. It's technically entirely skippable, but then one would be missing one of the funniest episodes of DS9's final season. It also contains James Darren and Avery Brooks singing a duet. Was this episode filler? Perhaps. Does that matter? Not at all, Daddy-O.
Hi, I'm Duncan Rillick, and I collect relics from before the burn. My store, Relics by Rillick, is open on Starbase 80. Yes, it is still there. And whatever quantum reality you're from, you can check me out thanks to Squarespace. Squarespace's all-in-one website platform is the best tool to help we entrepreneurs succeed in this galaxy. Thanks to Squarespace, I can link Relics by Relix social accounts and multimedia, letting you see everything I've discovered through that portal. Squarespace also allows me to use built-in email campaigns and marketing tools to fundraise on my site too. It helps me fund my travels because they are not cheap. Squarespace also has fantastic SEO doodads that let us show up more often and to more civilizations. Don't forget to stay one step ahead of the breen though. Speaking of, Squarespace uses Starfleet approved design intelligence AI technology. You get to stay in control and build your own personalized wonderful website. Go to squarespace.com/TrekCulture for a free trial and 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Remember, if it ain't Relic, then it ain't a relic. No relation.
And that's everything for our list today, folks. Thank you so much for watching along. You are awesome. You are wonderful. You are one cool cat. Please make sure that you are following us on the various socials. I am at Sean Ferrick. We are at TrekCulture. And please do make sure that you are subscribed to the channel because we enjoy making these lists and we want to bring them to you. Until I see you again, you look after yourself. For a fun fact, I finished recording this at 17:01 hours. How's that for Moxie? Live long and prosper, folks. Thanks very much.